I love practicing and I want to keep doing it, but what can I add on top of that that might be interesting or might change the world for the better? That's where a squiggly line becomes better than a straight line.
Hello, and welcome to On Purpose. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Jill Clark, the founder and Chief Vision Officer for Ignite Veterinary Services. Welcome, Jill. It's great to have you.
Oh man, it's Kristen. It's great to be with you as well.
So, what I love about your career is how many different chapters you've had. You grew up on a farm and then became a film star as a child. Tell me how that happens.
Well, I came out of the womb as a horse crazy girl, as you can tell by my office here that I'm still obsessed. And somehow I talked my city folk parents into moving to a farm when I was about 8 years old. And then shortly thereafter, they were doing nationwide talent search for a movie called Where the Red Fern Grows. So my dad thought, I've got a daughter, I got a farm, surely she'll fit. And they asked me a whole bunch of questions about farm life and so on and so forth. And I somehow got that part, had an amazing experience on that movie, and bought my first horse with the money from it. So it was everything I could have hoped for. And then went to the other side of the camera, was assistant director and associate producer and whatnot for about 17 years.
So after a very successful 17-year career in the film industry, something nudged you to make a change. Talk to me about what that was that nudged you to make a change.
Well, Kristen, it wasn't even a nudge. It was like a smack in the face. I was working on horror movies. So in the late 80s, early 90s, horror movies were starting to be really popular. And I was working on a horror movie and doing, they call it Foley. So it's the sound effects that they use in movies. So I'm sitting on this Foley stage in the middle of the night, chopping this frozen chicken. I just burst into tears. I was like, isn't there something else I can do to help the world? Because this is really not going to satisfy me long term. And it was such a moment. And then I went back to Oklahoma. My parents were taking their cat to the vet, coincidentally. And the veterinarian there, Jim Osborne, great guy, said, "You don't look happy. Why don't you be a veterinarian? You always wanted to do that." And I said, "No, I'm too old and this and that." And he said, "What are you going to be doing in 4 years if you don't?" And it just like, I'm going to be doing the same thing. I went back and got all my prerequisites that I'd put off and went to vet school and graduated in 96.
So as you move from sort of taking care of pets to how do you inspire and train those who care for the pets, talk to me a little bit about how you looked at some of the skills you built, not just being a vet, but actually the film industry, that impacted how you influenced the vision for Ignite.
So Ignite is really a combination or a mashup even of my two lives, because we have a high-end video animation, sound, music production company buried within Ignite. Bringing that high-end video to veterinary learning, I think, makes it much more memorable.
And one of the things I loved when I first got to know you, you described your career as a squiggly line.
Yeah, I don't know if that was on purpose, but now I really love it. I want to be a pioneer and a market maker, not a market taker. If you have a pioneer spirit, even if it's in a profession like veterinary medicine that's so reluctant to change, that you're going to be able to go left and right with some nimble methods to get you to a new place that might be really exciting and might be really scary. But being able to do that is so fulfilling. And I see more and more today, especially young female veterinarians, which I'm really excited about, who are saying, I love practicing and I want to keep doing it, but what can I add on top of that might be interesting or might change the world for the better? And I love that, because I think that's where a squiggly line becomes better than a straight line.
You also talked a little bit about some of the keys to your success was learning to actually say no sometimes.
You know, I was not a person comfortable with no for a long, long time. I was a people pleaser. I just thought I have to say yes, or my clients aren't going to love me enough, or they're not going to do what I ask. I mean, there were so many pressures that we get put on in society. And so when I found my no, and I don't know exactly when that occurred, but I really used it a lot after that. And it's just, I realized I didn't want to be mediocre. And if I said yes, I became mediocre. So if you really want to be good at something, you have to find your no.
Yes. Well, Thank you so much, Dr. Jill Clark, for joining me. And thank you for joining us for this episode of On Purpose. We look forward to seeing you again next time.